Perfect. Let's go.
Go.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we have a special guest, Lee Wade, a family law activist, someone that assists many fathers with the Pacific problems. And I would imagine as well, mamas as well. I mean, she's not here to discriminate against anybody, but she is the how can I say now, the administrator of a Facebook page called Dad Indeed. A very popular page. Many fathers that have problems regarding access contact, child maintenance issues, and so on will join the page, and they will use a page as a platform to obtain information and whatever assistance they can get. But that's only what I will say now. I would like to welcome Lee Wade. But Lee, thank you very much for partaking in this webinar. Many times, and this is a problem which I have, um, usually females come to me for legal advice, and my legal advice generally goes towards the female point of view, with the father doesn't pay maintenance, or father has a problems or cause problems with the mother, and so on. I think it's about time we have start, going towards the father side and trying to be a bit more, equal. So wait, please, sorry, Lee, please introduce yourself and tell us more about you and It Has Indeed.
Sure. Good morning, and happy 2021 to you. May this year be a good year for us all. So a little bit about Dads Indeed. Dads Indeed has a very, very interesting history. I studied social work in the UK, and I've been a social worker for many, many years abroad. I came over to South Africa, and one of the things I noticed was there seems to be quite a bias against dads, especially in the court systems, in the way we think, at schools. I've noticed it more and more and more. For me, you say I advocate for dads and mums. Yes, I do. But at the end of the day, it's actually about the children. If we have strong parents, we have strong children. I read something very beautiful the other day. If you kill off half the roots of a tree, does it grow strong? No, it doesn't. And it's the same with our children. So at the end of the day, Dads Indeed is a platform to empower fathers. Yes, we hear their concerns. Yes, we try and help them, but it's to empower them to maintain a loving, lasting relationship with their children going forward, and to co-parent successfully, because that's what benefits families, not just the children, it's about families. So yes, Dads Indeed has been running for a while now. We started off with just a couple of members, and we started off with learning how to dad after divorce, because it becomes a totally different entity. You need new skills, you need to upskill, you need to learn things like plaiting hair, things that you didn't have to do before. So we had little workshops. These little workshops grew into going hiking together, going for meals together, discussing things together. We have the most incredible visitors to our evenings now, and it's grown and grown and grown. We've even grown to the point that we have some amazing people we work with in Cape Town now as well. So we've got a base in Cape Town and a base in Joburg, and we seem to be growing more and more. What we do is we champion for mediation. We champion for people to have family group meetings. No disrespect, but to try and keep people out of litigation and to try and work as families, because at the end of the litigation, the family's left alone anyway to carry on by themselves. So we use that as our foundation, and that's how we move forward. And we're becoming more and more successful, to the point Dads Indeed is now more popular with moms than it is with dads.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So it's been going fantastic.
No, Lee, that's amazing. And one thing which you made a very important point, and I should have considered that early on. Yes, you are 100% right. We focus on the minor child. We're not concerned much about the father and the mother. Not their best interest, the parents' best interest. We focus on what's best for the minor children. And this platform is obviously for dads, and it's an important platform because many other platforms out there are basically for mothers, and people. People unfortunately do not understand the fact that it's equal. Fathers also have problems regarding child issues, and it's a reality. I mean, half my clients are males, are fathers, that have problems, and they have legitimate problems. And when we go to court, the court finds in favor of the father, and the other half is female, and the court many times find in favor of the mothers. So, Lee, the Facebook page. Just speak to me a bit more about that. How does the Facebook page in itself assist? Can I go online? Can I pose a question? Is there support?
Okay, so the one thing that's been very important, because a lot of the people I speak to, they're seeking knowledge. They want to be empowered. People don't like to be in the dark. Somebody gave me a good analogy the other day. If you go buy a new car, Don't you review everything online first? We don't go to every single car dealership and try the cars. We have a different way of approaching situations. So the importance I found is to make sure that relevant, up-to-date, evidence-based knowledge is on the page all the time. Some of the pages are very activist pages, and it's about marching and doing their own proactive activities. I'm more for, let's sit down and discuss this. Let's look at strategies going forward. So yes, people can post. I do monitor the posts. I allow people's comments. Sometimes the comments on there are a little bit harsh and untoward, so it's got to be monitored quite closely. But what I tend to do is we run a WhatsApp group, and a lot of questions come through the WhatsApp group. So when I find there's a common thread or theme, I will post that on Instagram and I'll post that on Facebook. I get quite a lot of calls from the Facebook. And what also has happened is through Facebook, Dads Indeed's grown, our WhatsApp group's grown, our meetings have grown, and we've now started peer mentorship. So if you think about it, divorce cases, separated cases, family law cases are universal, but every single one is unique. Quite often, the dads will say to me, and the moms will say to me, it's copy and paste. It's copy and paste. It's just a different timeline, a different face, a different child's name. So we try and make each one a little bit unique and take the learning out of past cases as well. For me, it's so important that people don't feel that they're just in a blind tunnel, struggling with their emotions. They're vulnerable. They're scared. They're upset. I get many a phone call in the morning. I didn't sleep last night. I don't know where my child is. I don't know if my child's safe. And it's about building on all of those. So what we tend to find this time of year, and this has happened for the past 4 years, is schools. So children are going back to school. You will not believe how many fathers have no idea what school their child's in. Do you know when they find out? When they get the invoice. Is that fair? No. And it's an issue that I broach more and more. So I've been trying to accommodate dads so that they understand the Children Act, they understand that there is an Education Act, and to speak to the schools in a polite manner and say, why are you not sharing the information with me? Unless a dad's rights terminated, and correct me if I'm wrong, schools should be sharing information. So it's long issues like that that are year after year after year, and we're trying to build a positive environment, a positive platform, and try and make it inclusive. Get the schools involved. I know schools don't want to be involved in litigation and matters, but they also have a very important place where our children have a place of safety. And share the information, help. If we all as a community, schools, the government, everybody works together towards families, we'll have a much better success rate.
I see, Lee, you're quite passionate about what you are doing, and I like your way of thinking. Your way of thinking is spot on. It's in a problem-solving mechanism, as opposed to complaining. You don't complain a lot. I like that about you. You know, with many people that complain about this and that, you find solutions to the problems, and you have a plan of action. You know, a roadmap of how to find solutions. And that's what I love about your Facebook page, because it allows everyone, you know, wherever you are, to form part of the conversation and to learn about what is, you know, what are your rights, you know, what does the law stipulate, and also for them to know that there are other people with the same problem. Because I can imagine if you're a person and you have 30, 40 friends, one or two of them might have certain problems, but you do not know that other people out there have the same type of issues. What I also love about your way of doing things is the WhatsApp group. It's a very important platform because people can also feel inclusive. So, and the answer that you provide will be relevant. And you're 100% right. Every family is different. You know, every matter is unique. I drafted maybe a few thousand court documentation, and yes, sometimes there's overlap, but it's very rare. I mean, it even happened before, whereby I'll have the same scenario, although the families might be the same ages. I mean, the mother and father the same age, the minor children are the same age, the same grades and everything, but the facts and the dynamics are totally different. So each case is totally different. So Lee, I think we spoke about this early on, whereby we will use this platform for members of your group or anybody as such to pose questions to yourself via your WhatsApp group, etc. And we can go online and we can create a video and we can answer those questions. Because at the same time, it's nice if the law is on paper. It's nice to discuss these things, but it's useless unless there's somebody to apply his legal mind to it and to give you proper direction to digest the information. And obviously, I've done thousands of these type of matters. So, and whereby your Pacific group member might only deal with one. It's his first time or her first time dealing with these issues, and it's good that we, use our resources and time to assist everyone. So, thank you very much for coming onto this platform, and I'm very excited about this. Before we move on, Lee, you have a question for me, one of your members, or something that's happening?
I do. I have a question, and it's not the first time I came across this scenario, and I would be so grateful if you could help us a little bit with this. The scenario is a father who has shared residence, and everything's been going quite well. Not much. He wanted to change a few things in the parenting program, and I believe in Cape Town you have this incredible system where the magistrates mediate in Wynberg Court with the families, and they work with them and they speak to the children. I wish that was adopted in more courts. It's phenomenal. I'd love to be there one day and just experience it. Anyway, so he was at court because there was a mediation. They needed to sort out a few issues. He went to the home. The home was empty and the child's gone. He has no idea where his child is. He has no idea where his child's going to school, how his child is. Mom just upped and left the province. So he's gone to the police. It's not really a criminal matter, they tell him. Why are you here? He's gone back to the court. They said, well, the child's obviously not in the jurisdiction, so we're closing the case. He's tried all the possible avenues that a gentleman with not much money can use, and he's getting nowhere. What does he do now?
It's a very difficult situation because from a lawyer, he can have the best lawyer on earth. Unless we know where exactly the mother and the child is, we can't do anything. He can get a court order stipulating that he's entitled to have contact, or the mother should not have done what she have done. I believe that the best way for him to, in some form or another, to find out to get some type of relief, is to find exactly where the mother is. Because the moment he knows where the mother is, he can act upon anything. The same way with a maintenance order. I can represent a mother and I can get an order for her for an exorbitant amount of money, let's for argument's sake, by default. It's a useless piece of order unless we know exactly where the father is. So I feel sorry for the specific member. It's an extremely sad matter. But even if the courts want to assist him, and whatever court there is, if you look at the Children's Act and the law, etc., they don't have teeth as opposed to find where a mother is, where a child is. I never saw any of that type of information. I know where maintenance is concerned, it's possible for them to make use of, telecommunication service providers, and so on. However, regarding child contact issues, if a father is refused contact or the mother has relocated to a different province, there is no law which I've seen in the past that assist, or officials that are put in place to assist those specific mothers or fathers in finding out exactly where the minor child is. For example, in a maintenance matter, there's a maintenance investigator, a maintenance officer. For children's matters, there's the magistrates, the clerks of the courts, they adjudicate matters, and that's it. They don't step out of the court. Unless a social worker maybe gets involved and does an assessment, but the social worker does not really look further. So I can advise this person much better if he knows where the minor child is. The police is difficult because has the child been abducted? Has the mother, under these circumstances, violated any terms of the court order? If she has violated any terms of the court order, so that's a very good, important read of the court order must take place. But if she has violated any terms of the court order, the police should assist the Pacific father. So if he lived in Cape Town, for argument's sake, and the mother relocated to a different province and she violated the terms of the court order, she committed a criminal offence in Cape Town, he must lay a charge, and the police must go look for this mother and bring her to Cape Town, and she must answer for her alleged violation of the court order.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, it's about the child. I think this little boy, or little girl, is sitting there thinking, where's my dad? What's happened to my dad? I was with him last week and now he's not here. And I think that's something I'd really like to bring across, no matter whether it's maintenance, whether it's family, no matter what, conflict can be constructive and we can build from it, or conflict can be destructive and destroy everyone. I know which one I want moving forward. Peace, harmony, and construction. Let's try. We've got enough going on with COVID and everything else. We need positivity. We need to work together. So now, in this discussion, you and I have just discovered a loophole. There's a gap. How does this gap get filled? Because this happens often. How do we work forward and assist, I don't know, the family advocate's office or somebody? What is the way? So the next person this happens to, what can we suggest straight away? You need to find the mom. That's a huge ask of somebody when you don't know where they are in the country. Where do you start?
The challenge is, if I would say, our laws regarding children matters, child maintenance matters, child custody issues. It's not that progressive. So it outlines very well, you have a right to this, you have a right to that. But if your right has been violated, it doesn't have that teeth or that clause. So let's go for child maintenance, for example. It says each party should pay a fair amount of maintenance, according to the means and so on. So we understand the principle, the fair principle applicable. But if one parent does not do that, and the specific parent has money, must probably be self-employed and does not really have a income based upon a salary or a bank account, so the law knows this person is hiding away money, etc. But the law will do nothing about it because it doesn't have that specific clause or the teeth. I believe it must be a strict policy. Sir, you have the money, you're not paying. If you do not pay, we'll have you arrested. And we'll have you in prison and have you jailed. So they must be a bit more stricter. We all know, Lee, when we were young and we never done our homework, we never done our chores, etc. There was consequences involved. You used to get scared. But in today's time, yeah, exactly. But in today's times, people aren't afraid. They find the loopholes, they find the weakness in the system, and they display the system all the time. So people that are employed and they're salary earners, they of course know, if I do not pay, ultimately I can get a garnish order against me. But there's a vast majority of people in South Africa that are not employed by employer, they're self-employed, or they find other means of making money. So that's where the law is concerned. So I would say we maintenance is concerned, there's some type of blunt teeth applicable. But where child custody is concerned, where rights of parents are concerned, because you're 100% right, a mom can have a child, she can go missing, completely missing, and she's not committing any criminal offense at all. She's not doing nothing wrong based upon the law. Ethically, yes, morally, maybe, yes, but not from a legal point of view. Well, how do you charge the mother? You can't.
Exactly.
So we need to lobby with government. Government needs to have a department in place. They have the family advocate's office in place, but what do? They don't go investigate. They don't employ private investigators and people to find out exactly where the mother is. So if me as a father, I am being denied contact from the mother because she went missing, she's somewhere in South Africa. She's not totally, off the record. Somebody needs to go. Somebody from the Department of Justice, some department, they have to create this person, needs to go on to cell phone records, find out where the person is, banking statements. I'm sure certain everybody uses a card, find out from the banks when last was this person's bank account being used. So trace the specific person. Speak to the family and say, okay, sir, you've been denied contact to your minor child. We know where the mother is. Let's start the process. But it seems to me if someone wants to go missing, someone wants to go missing. And that applies to the mom and the dad. Sometimes the dads want to go missing as well, and the moms as well.
Of course.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's one very strong message I'd like for 2021, and that is children have the right to both their parents, and it's the parents' responsibility to give that to their children.
I agree with you 100%. And Lee, what you mentioned early on, yes, it's unfortunate and it's sad that couples break up. It's part of life. It happened since time immemorial. Where people get together, they have a child, and they're separated. The relationship came to an end. They were bad partners, for lack of a better way of saying it. But why cannot they be the best possible co-parents to this minor child? That is what they can make a success. They can be the best possible co-parents. So they can say, yes, we were pathetic, we were bad, lovers or partners or spouses, whatever the case may be. But we have a child. Let the child say, I have the best mom and the best dad and the co-parent the best, better than any other parent.
Absolutely. If I could tell you just a little bit about my story, I have an ex-husband, and my daughter says the best thing that ever happened is we got divorced, because now she has two great parents who speak, who can go on holiday together. who love and adore and want the best for her. My feelings are about him, doesn't matter. What he feels about me, doesn't matter. But we've been doing this for 17 years and it works.
Beautiful,
You
beautiful.
know, yeah, it's where your mindset's at. As I said, for me, the message is very much children deserve both their parents, and it is the parents' responsibility. We're the adults, we're responsible. We need to take responsibility. What I found in a number of cases that I've worked is the children become the adults and the adults become the children. I've recently had an experience where a young man rang me and he said, please, can you come mediate in my home? I was like, can you tell me a bit about what's going on? He said, my parents are going through a divorce and I'd like them to know it's their divorce. It's nothing to do with me. So maybe what we need to say to our clients, to ourselves, to our friends is going through a separation, go for your therapy, deal with the issues, move on, and realize the rest of your life, that person is going to be in your life. You can't get rid of them. Even if you run away, you've still got that child and it's going to be there forever. So let's make the best of all situations. And that's the positive note I'd like to move forward with this year. With Dads Indeed, I'd like to offer a lot more support. I'd like to make sure that like you say, there's so many moms groups and there's very few support groups out there for dads. In fact, the clients that I'm working with in Cape Town at the moment didn't even know that there was a support group out there for dads. They had no idea. They were so thrilled. They now meet on their own. They have their own little meetings, which I'm absolutely delighted about. And I can't wait to travel and come and join them. So for me, know that there's inclusivity. And yes, it is Dads Indeed. But you know what? There's a lot of moms out there who want dads to be involved as well. So this is the platform to empower fathers, to empower families, and to offer children, both parents, what they deserve.
Lee, thank you very much for that. That's very inspiring.
Thank you.
It's extremely inspiring and it's something which we can obviously take with us going forward. And you are right. I get many queries and online as well. We get it all the time online where mothers contact us and ask us, how do I get the father to partake in the minor child's life? And you know, that's another pitfall with the law, and it's interesting because the law, there's no law applicable that forces a father to love his or her child and to want to have contact with a child. There's a law obviously that forces you to pay maintenance and so on. But and they concern me, and it happened for the last 20 odd years. While I'm practicing law, I've always been boggled by this whole issue. But because a father can father a child as long as he pays the checks, as long as he pays child maintenance, he does not have to be, from a legal point of view, involved in the child's life. And that's very sad, because that in default puts all the responsibilities on the mother. She has to be the father and the mother at the same time. And that's a big responsibility. It's hard. And I think we need to lobby with government. They should have some law in place, forcing parents to act responsible. So if you have a child, act like a father or act like a mother. Be a parent. Don't just go missing.
Absolutely. I find a lot of, okay, I'm going to talk from the father perspective now. We're dealing with a lot of dads. A lot of dads get shut out of the children's lives. You will pay and you will never see. Now, we need to overcome that mindset. And I think it's a mindset that's been there for a long time. And a lot of people start talking about GBV because of this mindset, and people get angry, etc., etc. So it's about the words we say to people. It's about the words we put on social media. I'm quite strict on the WhatsApp group. I say there's no bashing of people on the WhatsApp group. We are not there to bring people down, anybody at all. We are there to empower, uplift, focus, be task-centered, and to always help each other find solutions. So that's very interesting. Dads Indeed does actually run a parenting program. It's to empower fathers to upskill when they become fathers on their own right. Now, I don't like the word single dad because a child isn't made by a single dad or a single mom. There's two parents, and there's always two parents. And even if both parents aren't in that child's lives, they will feel it. They will know. It's part of their identity. So I say to dads, understand learning styles, understand teaching styles, understand your child's development, their milestones, and always have things to talk about. So say there's a dad who has a lot of telephonic conversation. Read a book with your child, discuss a series, have a common interest. And these little tiny tasks that we get them to do are huge. Another thing I quite often say to parents is start an email account for your child. An email. It's your birthday today. I haven't seen you. I love you. And when that child's 18, give them the password. You don't know how much reparation is in that and restoration. So these little important things I'm doing with all the dads that I'm working with at the moment and the moms, and we are creating great successes. And it's brilliant. More and more ideas keep coming forward.
Lee, I am
And it
very
is great to
impressed.
be.
I am extremely impressed with you. You are extremely creative. And I do not know why we did not put you on a platform earlier, because you got this knowledge, you got all these flowers and this information that can make parenting much better. Simple information, as I mentioned now. And I think and I believe that we need more people like you out there to deal with things positively. It is a sad thing, yes, that parents have problems, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. I mean, it's a reality. People have broken up. But you can go forward in a positive manner. Many times, you lose your job, you get another job, but you're not holding grudges against your previous employer all the time. You move on. So, Lee, thank you very much for that. And Lee, tell me the second question. What are we dealing here with? The other problem you said. You told me you
The
have two.
school. The school. It was about schools. Every year, the amount of phone calls I receive on the first day of school, Lee, I don't know what school my child's in. Nobody will tell me. My child suddenly left school and I don't know where they are. We're missing the first day of our child's school. They phone around, schools won't share any information. It almost seems as though, and I don't want to be prejudiced or biased or discriminatory here, but as soon as somebody walks in with a court order or a piece of paper, the school goes, I don't want to know. And I understand they're there to educate children, but they're also there to facilitate families. A lot of times, and I have discussed this with the Western Cape Education Department as well, schools will not update parents on what is going on with regards to welfare and the academic achievements of their children. Why? There's a mom and a dad. I understand it's administration to send out 2 reports, but maybe the one parent can help the child more at school. So the school seems to be a cornerstone of discriminating, especially against fathers, until they want school fees. I was working with an advocate and his family through mediation. The mom suddenly moved provinces. The dad could not find these children until he got a letter of demand from a school for school fees that he owed. That is the first point of contact the school made. That is not acceptable. It's against the Children Act and it's against the Education Act. So what is going on, and what can parents do? They phone the schools, they don't take their calls, they're not interested, they don't want to give updates on welfare. This is somebody's child. The school is not the gatekeeper of the welfare and the academic results. How do we move forward?
Lee, that's a very concerning topic which you mentioned now.
Yes.
A minor child will obviously want to have both parents involved in his or her schooling. I mean, I'm certain if a child gets a good grade, he would like his mom and his dad to be involved in that occasion. It's ridiculous to just presume that only one parent needs to know how well a child is doing, because obviously 90% of the rest of the class, both their parents are involved in the academic achievements, and you as a child want both your parents as well to be involved in academic achievements. I think, Lee, the conversation needs to be taken out there. We need to make many people. I'm certain many people will be watching this video. Many teachers will be watching this video, and they need to know that there is a problem. Schools, unfortunately, they are economically inclined. They deal with financial. It's mathematics. It's money. So if the school fees are paid, wonderful. Life goes on. If it's not paid, there's issues, there's problems. So all their policies and all their operations are based upon getting paid, and that's the way of operation. It's unfortunate, but that's what it is. But there needs to be a shift in thought within society. And it saddens me that if we go online now, we will not find many people speaking or videos about the problems that are out there. Many people believe that they are the only ones out there, but I think, Lee, let's get the conversation going. Let people in South Africa know that it is a problem that we have and it needs to be changed. Let the schools know that we know about how they're operating. Make it public, because as we mentioned earlier on, these specific issues are very isolated, whereby the school deals with individuals separately, and it's an embarrassing topic dealing with these. So you do not want to know another parent to know what problems you have with your minor child, with the school, etc. So let's start with the conversation. The law is there, the Children Act is there, the Education Act is there, all those specific laws are there, and obviously schools are not following what is stipulating. So we need to let them know that we know that they are not doing their jobs, and I think hopefully on that basis things will get better.
I do hope so, because you know what? If we just start somewhere small, like the school, that alleviates one problem. That's less stress for the parent. That's more concentration on the child. I even know of people taking urgent cases to court to try and get information about their children at school. That's the children's education and school fees that are being spent in a courtroom. So it all seems a little bit skewed to me. If the focus is the minor child, let's keep the focus on the minor child. You know, maybe there's a school portal, maybe there's somebody who can speak to the schools on our behalf, or somebody in education. But you know, the more people who know and the more people who have a voice, we need a voice. Please let us be heard. And the little of the great mountain of concerns that there are out there, I would appreciate more and more time with you so we can empower people, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. Empowerment is knowledge. Knowledge is responsibility. We take accountability. We move forward. And that's what we need to do, move forward.
No, Lee, thank you very much for that. Lee, I see we passed our half an hour now, so I mean, generally these videos are like a half an hour long. Lee, how do they get hold of you? Via your Facebook page? Dads Indeed. I typed it quickly in to get your details. Type in Dads Indeed.
I will send you my email address and my phone number, or would you like me to tell you now?
Tell it now. I'm certain people can just replay it back if they and write it down.
Yeah, so it's 07925 87225 is my cell number. Okay. Contact me on Facebook Messenger is probably the easiest, and then I'll redirect you to the website and everything else that we've got. We would like more members. We would like to know that we've got a big support system out there. We'd love to start one everywhere. So the more people who join us, the more support, the more solution driven we are, the more we can achieve things for the children. And I'm so grateful that you're part of us too now. Thank you, Advocate.
No, thank you very much to you. This is very exciting, and I think it's part of my job and part of my duty to, form part of the conversation on both sides. And I think I can only become a better advocate, if I understand the father side. I do understand it quite generally well, but I need to be relevant. I need to be up to date with the latest developments and what the trends are. As time goes on, the challenges becomes more. I mean, we now have technology, we have internet, we have WhatsApp, we have email. So generally, the queries nowadays would be, where a father would usually have contact with the minor child for arguments. Like, let's say an amicable divorce, every second weekend you'll see the minor child. That's what the parties agreed upon. But now fathers and parents are expecting to have contact on a daily basis by WhatsApp, Zoom, whatever they use. And things are developing, things are changing, and the law must also change. It's funny that our constitution is basically almost 25, 26 years old. It's quite an old piece of legislation, and the Children's Act is now more than 10 years old as well, close to that time. So, in my view, we need to now be progressive. We need to change the laws. We have to be, modern. Same with the pandemic happening now. Things, are different. So, Lee, on our next webinar, I will stipulate all our details over there. If you want to get hold of me, you have my website. You can see it on the video. Next week, I will chat to you later on about the Pacific time and the slots, but we'll have a series, and hopefully we can, in a half an hour, we can maybe answer at least 10 questions and unpack it, so that people will have, specific answers to specific workable answers to specific problems.
Perfect.
I think Lee, the problem is, many times we give someone the law. I give you the Children's Act. I give you the Constitution. Those things in isolation means nothing. You don't understand it. I can even give you a few case laws. Someone needs to unpack your specific legal problem because it has so many dimensions to it. It's not just one dimension. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay.
And it's brilliant. And you know what? The more of us, the more we build a community, the more we support and help each other.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you very much. So, Lee, wait. This is amazing. Thank you very much for your time. For the viewers, thank you very much. If you are watching this video, please share it. It will be very useful. Someone else can make use of it. But watch this space next week. We will be dealing with various issues regarding fathers' issues. And obviously, we will try to bring it in from a different angle as well, where mothers are concerned. But I think we'll focus on these videos, specifically on issues that dads will have. But Lee, that's my final point. Any final point on your side?
Yes, one more thing, right? We're reaching a new year. Let's make it work. Let's get rid of some of the acrimony and hostility. Let's look for some positivity. And let's think about our children. Before you think about your ego, before you think about anything else, think about your children. They're vulnerable. They need you.